Hello again, welcome back to Order of the Pie, the podcast where music history, stories behind the songs, and a little something in your glass all come together. I'm Christopher, and in part one of Borrowed Voices, we talked about intention, about writers who knew when to step aside and did so on purpose. Tonight continues that story because sometimes a song is already written, already strong, already complete on the page. What might need to change is the voice. Once that voice takes over, the song doesn't just travel. It leaves a footprint on the charts, on careers, and on how we remember the song by who it belongs to. This is Borrowed Voices Part 2, When the Voice Changed the Song. Bruce Springsteen could not finish Because the Night, not because it was weak, but because he couldn't hear himself inside of it. He had the music, he had the lyrics, but the song resisted him in a way that he recognized rather than fought.
Now, baby, here's I am. Pull me close, try and understand.
During the same time, Patti Smith was working in the same studio. Springsteen offered her the track unfinished, not as a favor, but as a possibility.
Love is a banquet on which we feed.
Patti did not accept it as a finished project. She accepted it as raw material. She later said that what she saw was a poem with electricity.
Come on now, try and understand the way I feel when I'm in your head.
In a single sitting, she rewrote the lyrics completely. She stripped away the narrative detail and removed anything observational or external. She centered the song entirely on desire and night. She made it primal, and that's why it works in her catalog. When Patti Smith sings Because the Night Belongs to Lovers, it's not pop sentimentality, it's ritual, it's mythic, almost religious. That is Patti Smith. When Smith released the song in 1978, it became her biggest hit, reaching the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100 and climbing even higher in Europe. Springsteen would later admit that Patti found the emotional center of the song better than he ever had. That song didn't leave Springsteen. He recognized it was not his, and that recognition allowed it to become definitive. Islands in the Stream was not written as country. It was not written as a duet, and it was not written for any specific voice. Barry Gibb was producing Kenny Rogers when the song emerged, which is how it landed in front of him.
Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown. I set out to get you with a fine-tooth comb.
Kenny heard its openness immediately. The song didn't push in any direction. It left space. But Kenny also knew it needed another voice.
You do something to me that I can't explain.
Dolly Parton was asked to join the session by Kenny himself, and she was not invited to soften the song. She was invited to complete it.
Pain every beat of my heart. We got something going on.
And even though Kenny was picked and Dolly was asked to join, nothing in the song changed. Barry's melody stayed intact, and his lyrics stayed intact. What changed was the balance.
There's no conversation, we ride it together. Making love with each other.
Kenny brought steadiness and gravity, while Dolly brought lift, warmth, and clarity.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one in between.
Released in 1983, Islands in the Stream went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and topped the country charts as well. The song didn't decide what it was, the voices did.
Rely on each other. From one lover to another.
Grease was written on assignment. The film needed a hit, and it needed one fast. Producer Robert Stigwood turned to Barry Gibb, knowing he could deliver something immediate and something unmistakable.
I saw my problems and I see the light. We got a loving thing, we gotta feed it right.
Gibb didn't overthink the moment. He approached it like a craftsman with a deadline. From the very first notes, he wrote the song with Frankie Valli's voice already in his head, not as a possibility, but as the target.
There ain't no danger we can go too far. We start believing now that we can be who we are.
Barry even recorded a BG demo first, using his own falsetto to map out the range Frankie would later take to the final recording.
Right now, we got to be what we be. Resist the word that you heard. It's got a groove, it's got a meaning.
Barry pushed the key high enough to demand the falsetto that defined Frankie's early career. It was not a comfortable reach, but it was a deliberate one.
We can be who we are. Grease is the word.
Frankie understood the move immediately. Barry was not chasing nostalgia, he was restoring recognition, and Frankie leaned into it.
Grease is the word. It's got a groove, it's got a meaning.
When Grease was released, it went straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, returning Frankie Valli's voice to the top of the charts in a new context. Barry didn't lose a hit here, he placed it.
Where we be living.
For Heartbreaker, Barry Gibb once again recorded the entire demo himself, lead vocal, backgrounds, and phrasing.
Love is believing, but you let me down. How can I love you when you ain't around?
As you can hear, the emotional shape was already there. When Dionne Warwick recorded it, much of that structure stayed intact.
Only to find any dream that I follow is dying. I'm crying in the rain.
And if you're listening closely, you can hear why. Barry, Robin, and Maurice Gibb are all on the finished record, their harmonies blending into the background. Not spotlighted, just present.
Why do you have to be a heartbreaker? Is it a lesson that I never knew?
Released in 1982, Heartbreaker became a top 10 hit worldwide, introducing Dionne Warwick to a whole new generation.
You have to be a heartbreaker when I was being what you want me to be.
Here the writers do not disappear. They do not dominate either. They leave fingerprints.
Why do you have to be a
When Pat Benatar released We Belong in 1984, it reached #5 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of the defining songs of her career. But the song did not begin there. A duo named Lowen and Navarro wrote We Belong as themselves, not as a pitch, not as a handoff. They performed it live, then shaped it through close harmonies.
When you say we belong to the light, we belong to the thunder. We belong.
When Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo encountered the song, it arrived as a demo. What they heard was possibility.
Don't wanna leave you really. I've invested too much time.
Giraldo rebuilt the arrangement around Pat's vocal range, tightening the structure and reshaping portions of the lyric phrasing to fit the scale of her voice.
Give you up that easy to the doubts that complicate.
And even as the arrangement expanded, the close harmony DNA of Lowen and Navarro's writing remained in the emotional center of the chorus.
To the light, we belong to the thunder. We belong.
The result did much more than create a hit. It helped mark the next phase of Benatar's sound, moving her into a more melodic, emotional pop rock direction that would define much of her mid-80s work.
We belong together.
My wife and I used to go see Lowen and Navarro whenever they would come through town. They usually saved the song for later in the set, and when the moment came, they worked the crowd while performing this version, walking through the audience, singing as they moved past you, bringing the harmonies close enough to feel.
Belong together. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together.
And when they hit those harmonies, it gave us chills. Years later, Eric Lowen would pass away from ALS, making those live moments and those close harmonies feel even more lasting.
Thank you very much so much for coming. And good night.
Now, the We Belong story doesn't end here. I've talked before about my love of Queen, and if you ask me who my rock and roll hero was, I'd say Brian May, which is why I was genuinely surprised to discover that decades later, We Belong was revisited again.
Many times I've tried to tell you, many times I've cried alone.
And this time by Lynn Carey Saylor, who chose to take the song somewhere bigger, more dramatic, more theatrical.
Don't wanna leave you really.
She wasn't trying to replace the hit. She was honoring the song's full journey. And when she needed someone who understood the kind of scale that she wanted, she turned to Brian May.
We belong to the light, we belong to the thunder.
And his guitar doesn't just decorate the version, it lifts it. But most importantly, the song was brought back to its original voices. Eric Lowen and Dan Navarro were included in this version, not as guests, but as part of the statement.
Maybe I just wouldn't know what to do with my strength anyway.
By then, Eric was living with ALS. In the video, he appears in a wheelchair. The reality is visible, but so is his voice.
Now there's no turning back when you say we belong to the light, we belong to the thunder.
Even after all that time, this song was still moving. Hell, it was rocking. Anyway, that's how songs live, not in ownership, but in motion. For this episode, the drink needed weight. Not sweetness, not brightness, pressure. And it's called the Thunder. You're going to take 2 ounces of Demerara. I prefer El Dorado 12, works beautifully. 3/4 of an ounce of Amaro Nino. 2 dashes of Tiki Bitters, which is available online. You can find it there. Stir with ice until deep and integrated. Strain over a single large rock, no garnish. This drink does not announce itself. It rolls in and it stays. Not every song here was abandoned. Not every song was rejected. Some were unfinished, some were written as assignment, and some were transformed. But in every case, the version we remember is the one where the voice locked in. Sometimes the most important part in writing is knowing when to let someone else speak. And sometimes that choice does not just save the song, it defines it. Until next time, here's the loud riffs, quiet sips, and the stories in between.